Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Succession Season 3 finale review. I'm going to just say it right now. This is the best episode of anything I have seen this year. This is probably one of the 10 best episodes I have seen of anything ever. I am saying that right
Whoa,
now.
no, it was incredible. I was at the edge of my seat. So good. There is so much to talk about. It's going to be a packed episode here at the channel, guys.
Here's the real test: is that are we going to be able to actually communicate everything? Because my mind is still so blown by everything that we just watched. I am a step away from being Kendall Roy on the floor here.
Oh my goodness, Tom.
Tom,
Oh, okay, listen.
Judas.
Okay, before we get into all of this, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Yeah,
We have been covering Succession all season. We got Dexter, we got Power Book 2, Cobra Kai is coming up.
yeah.
There is a lot going on here at the channel, so even though it is the finale, hit that subscribe button to stick with us for the rest of the stuff that we are covering. And also follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. We had a bunch of fun Christmas stuff
Yes.
going on this weekend, so you can see some of our pictures up there.
Well, speaking of the holiday season, you already mentioned his name. So Tom gave himself the biggest gift possible this holiday season, the gift of screwing over his own wife and also numerous family members.
Does anybody feel bad for Shiv
No.
out there?
No.
Oh, come on. F in the chat for Shiv. Like,
Oh.
she has treated him so bad. All season, all last season, that conversation that they had in the last episode where she was like, they were having their sexy time talk and she was
Yeah.
so cruel to him. I mean, it was only a matter of time. All that stuff with the prison, she's like, oh, I'm tired of hearing about you going
Yeah.
to prison. What is going on with that relationship? She is so awful to him that at the point where she was on the phone with him, telling him the Grandmaster plan, his only real question was, where do I fit in? Am I going to fit in here? Do you have a plan where I fit into all of this? Blah, blah, we'll figure that out later, whatever, whatever. I was like, oh, that's it. That's going to be the breaking point.
That's okay. I'm going to say this phrase a lot in this video. Just brace yourselves, everyone, because this is all what makes this show so brilliant is that I think a lot of us, our reaction is to be so mad at Tom in a lot of ways because, Kendall's so vulnerable in this episode. So many of us love Roman, and it's hard to see them sort of betrayed in this way. But for Tom, this arc was played out so wonderfully all season. And
Beautifully.
I was convinced that he was going to go and join Kendall, and they found a way to completely pull the rope-a-dope on us, trick us, make us think this, and still have the arc make sense.
But they gave us the clue when he sat down with Greg and was like, Greg, are you ready? Let's make a deal with the devil. We all know who that is. It's Logan.
It was Greg. Oh no, are we getting a step closer now to my darkest timeline theory of Greg eventually running everything?
No, we're not, because I think, and I cannot wait until next season to see what the bag is that Tom secured for himself, because he had to have secured something pretty amazing to be okay to do what he did to Shiv. He obviously felt on very shaky ground in his marriage. She didn't give him any sort of confidence and feeling like he was going to be a part of what was going on with the company if she was to be taking over, and he decided to go with Logan. And because he did have this deal with Logan that if he needed to go to jail for Logan, he would. Logan said, I'll remember this. It's all coming full circle. Where is Tom in this company now?
Okay, let's talk a little bit about just subtle movements and body language. Listen, we're gonna be those body language experts that show up on morning news shows and analyze stuff. Here we go.
Are we gonna be talking about Shiv when he put his arms on her and she went, ooh.
Yeah, it was okay.
Ooh,
that was
she knew.
Yeah, that was so she knew immediately. But when Tom comes in, Logan puts his hand on him. That is the ultimate, you are my son now move. And then Tom goes and, he puts his arms on Shiv. And that is the very much I'm the person in the power position now. And
That's right.
It all of these things are so well executed and well directed. And it just the entire show the entire show is different now, like fundamentally changed forever.
Yeah, because we've already seen sort of Kendall in the good boy position. We've seen Roman
Yeah.
this season in the good boy position. We saw Shiv, also in the good girl position. So it was kind of like, where are we going to go from here? Was it going to be now Connor is going to be in that position, or is it going to be Tom? Because Tom really has shown a lot of loyalty, and he really is sort of in the same kind of field now as like a Gerri, who has also shown incredible loyalty to Logan no matter what.
And I think so much of it is sort of based on this idea of people like Gerri, people like Tom, like they started really, from nothing. And I'm not saying, they had $0 to their name or anything, but they weren't a part of the Roy family. And so I think they look at perspective a little bit differently than, say, a
Yeah.
Kendall or a Shiv.
Yeah, and that was what was also really interesting about this last scene with Logan talking to his kids, where they came in there and felt like we're entitled to this. This was in the divorce settlement. We can stop you. This is ours too. And while they have all put into this business, this still is Logan's business, which is the thing that he kind of reminded them, was like, what did you bring to this pile? Like, what is it that you brought? And Roman's kind of like, love. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, this is business. This isn't the family. Like, it is separate. And you kids have been, protected by me financially. He helped Kendall with the whole he killed somebody thing,
Yeah.
which we'll get into. But that he's kind of like, it is time for you to go and make your own money. This is my money. This is what I earned. You're not just entitled to it because you're my children.
Once again, why this show is so brilliant, because it is like, okay, I felt so much sympathy in a way towards, these kids who thought they had sort of figured certain things out, and ultimately the rug gets pulled out from under them, and you can see how devastated they are. And now Roman, especially, like, he has bent over backwards so many times to make his dad happy, so to lose like that, it's so sad. And yet everything Logan says is right. Like, Roman's biggest achievement over the past week or two is sending a photo incorrectly to his father. And
Okay, that's not an achievement.
Yeah.
He's had other wins. Don't you do
Hey, listen.
Roman dirty like
He
that.
also thought he had something with Matson, and he screwed that up.
Yes.
So Roman, okay, you have had some wins, Roman. You're not awful,
And
but
he had a win tonight. Like, even though it all played out the way it did, and Caroline screwed them all
Oh,
over.
Caroline.
Which, okay,
Caroline
oh,
sucks.
she is the worst. He really had a very difficult time actually standing up for himself. And
Yes.
we've seen that over the seasons, that Roman really has a hard time with this. He does not have confidence in himself. And he did tonight. He stepped to Logan the best that he could, even
Yeah.
though Logan was like, come on, son, you and me, we'll go talk about this together. That's why at the end, when Logan was like, you guys should have just trusted me. Like, I was gonna find a way just for, we could all eat at the table, but it's still my choice to make it as my business that I built, but you still eat at my table. Like, he wasn't just necessarily screwing everybody over. It was sort of a, you're gonna have to actually show your worth
Yeah.
now.
And they didn't. And they clearly didn't want to do that. Like, that's the craziness of how all this boils down. But I think with Roman, because I know how much you love your guy Roman here. I think there's a very interesting journey to go on just from Roman's lens. So we start this episode with Roman where he is at the meeting with Matson, and they're sort of going over everything. And Lucas sort of suggests this whole idea of he would be in charge, but Logan would be handled some grace, some dignity. Logan sends Roman away, and Roman doesn't refuse. And in that moment, he is like subservient to his father. He's not thinking out for his own best interest. And then look and see what he does at the end. Like, this is a full arc for Roman in one episode.
Yeah, it really is. And I say this as someone who loves Roman. I
Yeah.
truly wasn't confident in his own confidence. I really last minute I was just like, oh man, is this gonna go sideways? That minute that Logan was like, Get Kendall out of the room. Roman, get him
Yeah.
out of the room. I was like, oh no, here it comes. He's going to just fold. It's going to all fall apart. I was very proud of
Yes.
him. I'm very proud of you, Roman.
Roman would very much appreciate it. And, Kendall, okay, because Kendall, I think, is a huge part of Roman's journey here in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because, okay, the Jeremy Strong conversation, I know the majority of Succession headlines this past week were related to Jeremy Strong and the New Yorker profile. Like, I get all of that. But no matter what his process is, no matter what he does to prepare for this role, I think him on the ground talk was one of the most devastating and heartbreaking scenes I have ever seen.
Jeremy's incredible. There
Yeah.
there is no getting around it. Whatever his methods are to get him to that spot, I mean, he was incredible and he always is, but that scene where he was finally just breaking down with
Yeah.
Shiv and Roman and admitted what he did and that he felt responsible for the death of this waiter. I mean, it was powerful.
And I just think his words, I am so alone, that he feels like he has nobody. He feels like he can do nothing, that he is lost at every angle. I think for Roman, I think hearing this empowered Roman in a very weird way, because it's like, here is his brother treating him like an equal, and here is his brother admitting his own fault and admitting his own failure and being so open about it. And I think that really binded them together in a way. And I think it allowed Kendall to see, on some level, that his siblings care in their own strange sort of way. I mean, Roman's way of caring, of course, was to make all these jokes about, like, oh, we've all killed kids before.
Yeah, but Kendall was still able to sort of strip that back from Roman
Yeah.
because Roman did have, yeah, he started with his normal jokes and his nonsense, but the more Roman really saw how broken Kendall was, it did start to strip back some of that joking bravado that Roman puts out there when he just does not know how to deal with a situation at all. And we saw some real raw moments because that's the thing about Roman. Roman, he's not the greatest person. I say, I'm a fan of
Yeah.
Roman, but I am fully aware that Roman is not a great person. But at the same time, he really does care deeply for stuff. It's just you have to get past this to see that he actually has love and cares for people. He just doesn't want to get hurt by it. So by cracking those
Yeah.
jokes still while Kendall's like sitting in the sand crying, he's still doing that because he doesn't want to be vulnerable with his brother because his brother can hurt him and everyone can hurt him and he's not having it.
No, and Roman has he has a heart underneath all of
I will
this.
say it's interesting that Kendall admitted what his part was with that waiter, but he
Yeah.
did not mention that his father cleaned that up
I have an
and
in-
that his father
yeah.
has known all this time.
I have an interesting theory about this, that I wonder, in some level, like, he wants to defeat his dad, but he almost Kendall feels like the sort of guy who would go and do a royal joust to the death, as opposed to, like, going behind someone with a little knife. I think he wants the takeover to be in its own weird way. He wants to feel honorable in it, and I don't
Yeah.
think he wanted to sort of dump all of that on it and sort of cloud any sort of picture that could be coming. I think he just wanted to own his own misgivings.
Yeah, I had wondered if either of the siblings had asked him if he would have said it.
Yeah.
I think he was, for me, I just think that Kendall was so deep inside of him of what he did and his feelings of responsibility about it that he wasn't looking to pin it on anyone else because we still have to talk about that last scene from the last episode. There was so much debate on
Yes.
whether or not Jeremy was leaving the show, that Kendall was already dead in
Yeah.
that scene. Was he trying to take his life? Was it an accident because he had, been drinking too much and he just kind of, what was going on? And that's the way that Kendall tried to play it off,
Yeah.
that he's like, oh, I had one too many and, I fell into the pool kind of thing. Personally, I think that he was, in a way, I mean, we've said that he's been battling depression. So the
Yeah.
idea that he would try to take his own life, it felt like it could be in that ballpark. I was wondering because of the way that it was happening. We saw the bubbles leaving his mouth. He was had his face in the water because of his guilt over the waiter drowning, that he was like, I want to know how it feels. I deserve to know how it feels, and it got away from him.
I agree with that, and this is about to get a little bit dark, everyone. But this
Oh, it's
is
already gotten dark. I just talked about, taking your own life.
this
So
may be
yeah.
a little even darker. But okay,
Okay.
here's the this is sort of where I look at it: is that there is taking your own life, and then there is wanting to be dead. And I think one of them implies a little bit more of an action than the other. I think Kendall wanted to be dead, and I think Kendall thought, okay, if I lay here long enough, I've had something to drink, everybody's inside. If I fall in this water and I drown, then so be it. I fall in this water and I drown. I'm dead. And I like that they didn't actually show us the scene. I like that it's still open to a little bit of interpretation what happened, because I think no matter what we say, it was a near death experience for him. It's something that everybody else showed some actual, human concern over.
Yeah, his dad was even there.
Yeah, like I think these are the things that really sort of matter at this point. It doesn't matter if we see it or not. What matters is how it impacts everybody else. And it seems like Kendall, thanks in some ways to Roman and Shiv of all people, he's found an interesting new lease on his life. And I don't know where it's going to go for him in season 4, but I'm really excited.
No, I'm hoping that by him admitting what his part was with this waiter to his siblings and seeing that they were there for him and that he's not as alone, because that was what he was really grappling with, that he just felt alone and
Yeah.
more and more and more alone, and then he was really struggling with his depression, what he did, all this sort of stuff, that now he just feels like he's united with his siblings. But I mean, now everything is kind of, now they all got to go find their own way.
I hope they all have like some little corporation that they try to form themselves and try to. Okay, there's going to be a lot of time to paint Succession season 4 in my head.
No, I feel like with that last sort of power body movement where we had Tom
Yeah.
put his hands on Shiv's shoulders and kind of be like, I'm the one in power now. I've got a spot and you don't have a spot. That there could be a lot of talking to Tom about things.
I'm so interested to see how Tom is going to handle all of this. And okay, it is time. We are 18 minutes into this video. It's time to visit Connor's Corner, everyone.
All right.
And
So we saw that Connor got his yes. It wasn't like a great yes. It was kind of like one of the weirdest, saddest yeses, which, this is the thing. There's a lot of terrible people on
Yeah.
the show that do terrible things, but Connor's not really a terrible guy. He's just a strange guy.
yeah, like this is the funny thing. I don't think Connor is a horrendous human being. Like, yeah, he's a little bit of an idiot. Yeah, he is delusional, but at
Yeah, because we even had that story that Roman told about the fishing trip, and then later it came out that it was actually Connor that took him on that.
like, I think Connor does care about his family. I think he's also he's desperate to be respected, because even like Alan Ruck actually got like some really good material in this
Oh,
episode.
yeah, he really did.
And talking a little bit about being sort of away from his father for years. And I think that defines so much of who this character is, where it's like, yeah, I am the oldest, but because I was separate from things, because I was not sort of a part of this like inner circle, the core, I still feel disrespected. And that's why he got so mad when Kendall started referring to himself as the oldest, because it was a slap in his face and a slap to whatever respectability he had.
Oh, Kendall was way out of line. I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
something like that. It really is disrespectful. And I know that Kendall had just gone through a lot of stuff and maybe he wasn't sort of thinking it through, because obviously he was saying it in a way where he's like, I'm the eldest within the three of us that want to be a part of the company. Connor doesn't. Connor wants to be president of the
Yeah.
United States. He wants to do other things. He hasn't been part of all of this. And I think that's what Kendall was trying to say, but it came out real bad.
Yeah, it came out really, really bad. And I hope now that because they did at least give Connor a call when some of the stuff was going on, that he will be more inclined to side a little bit more with them than Logan, because if Logan's gonna screw over those three, he's sure as heck gonna screw over Connor.
If he sells this company, like, what does next season even look like anymore? There is no succession anymore of anything. The company's gone. The kids are not succeeding into anything. Yeah. It is like, what is the show? It's kind of like Prison Break after they all broke out of prison and then they went on for like 20 more seasons. It's like, no, you broke out. It's done. So where does the show go from here?
And
the company can't get sold. That's what it feels like.
It feels like the company can't get sold, but I don't know. I think that's where the excitement is. Like, my hope actually is that we do see more of the Roy children out on their own, trying to make their own sort of world for it, or binding together to try to take down Logan another way, or Logan being so incredibly unhappy that he sold the company, trying to find a way to fight back against it, because these people should not be underdogs. These people suck. They are mean, they are cruel, they are mostly unlikable, except for Connor, and it's just ultimately, I still want to find a way to root for them, as weird as that is.
No, I do too. I think that the company is its own character, and it's really important to be part of this show. And because we didn't see that the deal's actually done yet, deals can fall through and Logan changes his mind, as the day goes on. So something else might pop off where he's like, you know what? I've decided to keep the company, except now Tom's in charge of now he's the president of nothing. And has taken Shiv's title, and all you kids are out, and just pays them all out and sees what happens.
Can I say sneakily, the funniest moment of this entire episode to me is when Connor is being congratulated on his engagement by his siblings, and in the background you see Willa just it's like pounding champagne. It's like, Willa, it's not that bad. You could be marrying Kendall.
It's not that bad. You want to be married to Connor? I don't want to be married to Connor.
Listen,
Connor is crazy.
Connor is the best out of the Roy children. I know I'm not saying much here in comparison to the rest of the world may be better, but if you were just in a room with these people,
no money is worth having to be married to Connor.
He will have a big jacket to help keep you warm whenever you need it. No, okay, the one little nitpick of the finale, I still could not care less about Greg and his romantic with the Countess or whatever royal title she is. It's just not working.
No, they did not have a good story for him this season. It started out strong where he was kind of the paper guy. He was the guy that was holding on to, the big bomb of the season. And then it just really quickly went away. And it was all about Greg wanting to date this person, move up with this person. I just didn't really... I didn't care. And Greg has never been my favorite character that I'm the most invested in anyways, but I like that in the past he has had a story.
I was big on Greg. I was Team Greg at the start of this season. He was like one of my favorites that I was so excited about. Now I'm just sort of like, meh.
Yeah, he feels like he's just been a lot of sort of comic relief. And the stuff that I have liked about him this season is his stuff with Tom. That relationship, there's just something there that is very, fascinating to watch. They are both two people that have kind of not come from nothing, but they're definitely scrambling to try to find a way to move up.
Here's the great news, everyone. I think we're going to get a lot of Tom and Greg in season 4, now that Greg is seemingly on that team.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they both made this deal, so here we go.
All right, well, let's get everyone's thoughts out there on this episode. Is it hyperbolic to say that this is the best episode of TV this year and maybe one of the best episodes of anything ever?
It's great.
It was just phenomenal. I could not have enough. I would watch this again immediately. Let us know. And also hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, and we will see you here next time.